Hey, now it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting, about to throw me through a barbershop window.
It's a loser leave town match here?
Something like that. This is the last traditional enhancement talent as we know it in this room with these people.
Yeah, and here we've been, I think we discussed, I don't know that we've got a set total, but somewhere around 150 episodes I think we've done of this.
Sure.
It's amazing on what it's become, and hopefully we will get back together soon. Again, in case you're just figuring out what's going on, I will be headed out of town, taking a new job, and but we're going to stay in contact, yeah. and we may come up with something for you in the near future. But you will still see wrestling updates. Rob will take care of those for you.
We will still be talking about wrestling. Eric and I will still be friends. We just won't be co-workers anymore. And who knows what the future holds for us?
You never know. You never know. So definitely keep following us on Twitter at the eTalent. You may notice it's the one that Jake the Snake Roberts retweeted over the weekend.
That's right.
That would be the account you go to. Not name dropping or anything.
Well, but you did a great job.
But anyway, so here we go with our predictions. Night of Champions coming up. Night of Champions is this Sunday, and we have our predictions for you. And you can, say whether you agree, whether you don't agree, whatever, and let us know your predictions as well. So
on the pre-show, getting things started, we have Stardust teaming with the Ascension to take on the Lucha Dragons and Neville.
It's like the comic book feud that would never end. But it's always pre-show. I don't mind this feud, actually. I think it's, they're doing something with the Ascension. The Ascension's a good team, and they've just made them a joke on the main roster, I think.
I feel nothing for them.
Well,
nothing good or bad.
The problem is, did you ever get to see them in NXT?
A little bit.
Because in NXT, they were over, and they were a popular team. They just haven't done much with them, and they tweaked their characters coming in, and I don't think they did right by those guys who have both been on the roster for a long time. Granted, the developmental roster, but putting them with Stardust, I guess, works. But all that being said, it's it's something that appeals to the kids. I think Neville and the Lucha Dragons take this one out.
I feel like they have a real identity crisis. I feel like they don't really know who they are, not just the workers, but the writers. The Ascension means nothing to me. I don't look forward to their matches. That they really just don't move my meter at all. I agree. I think that Neville his team is going to pick up the victory here.
Yeah, and I would like to see this feud kind of come to an end and kind of see Neville off into some bigger and better things.
Yeah.
As I've said about Neville before, I think he's an amazing worker. And look, PWI 500 just came out recently, and I think he was in the top 10. You're talking about some serious praise for a guy of his stature. Now, again, great worker. I just don't ever see him in that top role. He's going to be like the Rey Mysterio type role. He's going to be the guy that goes out there, puts on awesome matches, can be in the main event, but is never going to quite get that big one. That's what I see in his future.
I agree. Yeah, I'm surprised PWI have him in their top 10, but yeah, he's a guy he's a great worker, always delivers the goods. I remember when he came here to Evansville on SmackDown, my favorite moment of the show is when he hit that the
Red Arrow.
That's what it's called. Thank you. When he hit that, the place went crazy, myself included. Okay, moving to the main card. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with the Wyatt family versus you've got the Shield, I guess you can call them, with mystery partner.
Yeah, the best buddies, the Bros.
The Bros, right?
You got Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose with their mystery partner. They made a big deal last night or this week over the mystery partner. Then, so it's not Randy Orton. I think we know that they've made that clear. It's not Jimmy Uso. They've made that clear. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with my opinion unless I've got one other possibility.
I have a thought.
Okay. What do you think?
I've also heard. I said Orton last week. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I've read about the Uso. I don't know if that's what they're going to go with it, but my overwhelming thought now is Eric Rowan.
See, and I hope it's not. I seriously...
I hope that too.
Because, as I've said before on the show, Eric Rowan needs to be repackaged completely. When he comes back, he needs to be sheep mask free, beard free, jumpsuit free. He needs to be away from the Wyatt family.
No, actually,
he needs to have nothing absolutely to do with them.
I want him actually with the Wyatt family.
Well, and that's okay. I mean, if he goes back to the Wyatt
yeah.
family, that's okay. But he doesn't need to be a babyface. He doesn't need to be fighting against the Wyatt family. It's just too much. He doesn't have enough of a character to do that.
So
I hope it's not him. I'm going to stick with, again, way out on a limb here with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, right, yeah, you said that.
That was my original pick, was Daniel Bryan, and I will stick with that. I think they've been awful quiet about Bryan lately.
A little eerily quiet. You're making a point.
So I'm thinking that could be the big surprise. If not Daniel Bryan, I've got one other pick, and that would be Samoa Joe.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
Because I mean, there's a lot of things you could go from there. One, it would be worthy of being a mystery partner, and,
yes.
and the way that they treated it Monday night, that's somebody who would be. And I've always thought that eventually a Samoa Joe Roman Reigns feud is going to be an inevitable thing. So that would be a good way to get that started. So I'm going to go with one of those two, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and I'm going to pick the team of Ambrose and
yes,
and Roman and mystery partner.
We agree there. I see the mystery partner leading the team to victory, and that is what I have there. I also have the Shield 2.0 winning that one. Let's move forward here. Dolph Ziggler taking on Rusev.
I have really no basis on this one, but I think Dolph Ziggler finally gets the win here. There's something weird going on, like with him and the Summer Rae thing. I don't know if they're headed toward a real heel turn with Ziggler. I'm not really sure what they're doing with this situation. I can tell you this much: I do not like this feud. I haven't liked it from the beginning. I don't like the women's involvement here. I just don't like it. I don't. I mean, Rusev, I was never a big fan of to begin with. I got behind him when he was in the Cena feud, and now he's fallen to exactly where I thought he would in a comedic, almost cheesy role. I don't like where he is. I don't like where Ziggler is. But I see Ziggler. Everything
I'm reading and every wrestling fan that I talk to leads me to believe I am the only person not bothered by this feud. The women's involvement does not bother me. I think it's something for these two people to do. It's not, at least it's not just a random match. I don't know. It doesn't bother me at all. I really am not bothered at all by this feud. I actually kind of like it. It's not like my favorite. This is not Flair Steamboat, but this is to me is a fine mid-card feud, personally, or lower card feud, whatever. I also see Dolph going over. We haven't disagreed yet, but I don't really have a big base for thinking that either. It feels like it's right.
Yeah, and I will say the other thing is, here's my problem, is the entire run that Rusev had with Lana. Great pairing. I mean, I loved them together, and I would like to see them even be put back together. As much as people like Lana, I think her pulling the swerve would have been better, but now having this wrist injury kind of throws that away. But they never once implied that they were a couple. You know what I mean? Like through that whole run, never implied that they were a couple until she leaves and gets tired of being mistreated, and now all of a sudden he's this great lover, and I don't like that. I just don't like. I mean, Rusev's character was finally starting to reach me, and now he's like, no, it doesn't. Now Dolph, I don't mind Dolph in that role because Dolph has that image. Rusev doesn't.
To me, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I get that it bothers a lot of people, but this is. Usually I'm cranky about stuff like this, but this one is not bothering me.
Okay, all right.
The next match that we will talk about, let's look at the Intercontinental Championship match. So we've got Kevin Owens taking on Ryback.
Man, I tell you what.
Did you see it last night?
Yes, and and again, here's another character that has been up and down for me, is Ryback. And this is one of those times where the writers completely do an injustice for this guy.
This is a guy who should not be dancing in the ring.
No. And especially when you're going back to the whole deal with his book, the book where that's when he first got over, as he started talking about the book, The Secret, and people were like, oh, cool, he's a real dude. He's not a meathead like CM Punk claims him to be. And he's not, he's getting over now. And so to start off something just because you're in Memphis of singing and dancing like Elvis, I mean, not something for Ryback. The writers did him a horrible injustice. It's not Ryback's fault, but I think they did a horrible injustice. And of course, then you got Owens coming out looking like the badass that he is, and just made him look silly.
Well, I mean, to me, Owens came out and made things worse. Owens tripping over his words.
Wow.
Owens, can't throw the book out of the ring. I thought they both did a piss poor job last night. To be honest with you,
it was, and again, and I don't know that it was necessarily their fault. I think they were just put in a horrible situation, for whatever reason. The story's there in a book that I would say 99% of the wrestling fans have not read.
When did he first bring this? When did he first bring up this book? Because last night was the first time I remember.
This was like right after he kind of came back as the babyface thing, and it was like 2 weeks in when he started talking about his real life and his setbacks and his broken leg. And,
so that's kind of
brought up that book.
Has he brought it up since then?
I mean, other than that, he brought it up on a podcast, I think, with Jericho.
That's too long. That's too deep a reference.
And again, it's a book that, like I said,
I don't know.
Nobody's read. I mean, we haven't read, and again, not all wrestling fans are, college graduates.
Well, I mean, I'm a college graduate, but I've never heard that book.
That's what I'm saying. And we haven't, but there's plenty of wrestling fans, not to disparage any of, but there's plenty of wrestling fans not as educated as we are. So,
and that's saying something. Because we're not rocket scientists here in this room either. The book to me just annoyed me. Yeah. Owens coming out, when he came out, I was like, thank you, Owens, save this segment, but he didn't. In my opinion.
But anyway, I'm going with Owens to win the title.
I went back and forth on this one. I'm settling on Ryback to retain. Personally, I don't know why I want Owens to win the title. I feel like he's the better worker. I feel like people are behind him, but I feel like there's not enough for him there's not enough in this feud yet. I can see him taking it from Ryback, but not Sunday.
I gotcha. Okay.
After that, you want to talk about the tag team titles?
Yeah, New Day versus the Dudley Boys. I'm picking New Day in this one.
I'm picking the Dudleys. I'm not positive they'll win the titles, like they might win by disqualification, but I'm picking the Dudleys, and they may even leave with the titles. I feel like the iron is hot on the Dudleys, probably hotter than they thought when they first came back.
It is, and for that reason, I think it's even more so, the reason to have them continue to chase. Especially when you look at how it happened last night. It was the 3-on-1 advantage that beat the primetime players. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, the Dudleys do have other members. I'm just saying.
What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that this feud goes on at least a couple more months, and we will see at least a one-off appearance by Spike.
Well, we need Spike versus Xavier.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That'll happen. I think they've got to lose this match to get there.
I would love to see Spike back. I would probably like to see Spike more back than Bubba, personally. Okay, so we have two disagreements now. The last two we disagreed on. We've got a few more matches to talk about here. We've got the Divas title match. Charlotte taking on Nikki Bella. If Nikki gets pinned, submission, or she gets counted out or DQ'd, she loses her title.
Well, they killed two birds with one stone last night. One, they got Charlotte over and got people really excited about her her potential to win the Divas title. And two, they let Nikki beat Mrs. CM Punk, which I think was their ultimate goal as well.
I think so too.
So now that you got all that set up, I think it's perfect timing. Now Charlotte can take over and win the title.
Really? Okay, I have Charlotte winning as well, pretty much for the same reasons. But I do want to say, bravo Monday for making that title seem really important.
Oh yeah.
That title match seeming really important. They did a good job. They did it. It didn't just happen. Like they actively went out to make this an important title and an important match. And you're right. Did a great job of building Charlotte and making her seem ready for the title.
Yeah. So I didn't so much like the finish because it had been done already. But it was a decent way to do to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish there. And
I will say this: I expected more of a pop from the crowd, but I felt it wasn't there.
Yeah.
From when Charlotte won, personally.
But the crowd was a little weird last night, though. I mean, and Memphis, you almost expect a better crowd there, but Memphis just wasn't into anything like major. Even Sting didn't get too much of a reaction.
That's true. Leaves us with two more matches to talk about, both of them involving Seth Rollins. You want to talk about the Cena match first?
Yeah, let's talk about this, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think, while it would be good to get one of those titles off of Rollins, and they'll have to do it eventually, I don't think tonight's the night to do it at Night of Champions. I think he keeps both of the titles, and that's going to kind of go on to my next thing, but I think he beats Cena in this match. Somehow.
I don't think you're crazy. I get where you're coming from, but I feel strongly that Cena will win the title back in this match. I don't see Seth Rollins leaving with both titles. I think that it's not productive for one guy to have 2 belts, and they got a lot out of it in that last month, with the Jon Stewart stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got a lot of mileage out of it, but now it's time to bring the belt back, personally. And I think they're going to. I think Cena's going to get the win back.
Okay, all right. I just, again, I mean, I can totally see that happening. I'm not against it happening. I think it'll work, but it goes to a greater purpose in my mind eventually for Seth Rollins. But
I'll say this, if the match goes on last, if Cena Rollins goes on last, Cena's definitely winning.
Yeah, I don't think it will, but
okay, we'll see. Okay. That means that you think Sting and Seth Rollins will go last.
I do. And, we got a little taste of Sting last night. I mean,
which I liked.
Yeah, it was good. I'm
not saying that he was great, but I liked seeing him in a match.
I'm glad they did it. I thought the original singles match that they did with Big Show was really just pathetic, but I'm glad they went into a tag match. And
at least it's only 2 minutes of pathetic.
Yeah, exactly. But again, Sting, he's what, 55? He can still go.
Absolutely. He was having great matches all throughout his TNA run, in my opinion, and there's no reason why he can't have a really good match with Seth Rollins on Sunday. And this is, I think, Sting's first opportunity to have a great match in the WWE. Hopefully not his last. I'm really happy. Like I said, I feel like Sting's enjoying himself. That makes me really happy. I don't see him winning WWF's world title, WWE's world title, but I see him having a good run with Seth Rollins, a good match.
Yeah, and I like what they did last night. I mean, showing his career and going through, his history, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Did you notice they showed Hogan last night?
I know, they did. And I'm glad they shouldn't delete him from history.
Exactly.
It's one thing to have him now out there, about the Susan G. Komen Foundation, or as he calls her, Susan Coleman.
Coleman, yeah.
Or having him have future events, but don't erase the man's history, personally.
Yeah.
One more thing, absent from the card is Sheamus. Will we see him cash in?
I think we'll have to see Sheamus involved somehow here. And it would only make sense. I mean, if you've got Seth Rollins, wrestling 2 hard matches, I think you see Sheamus involved. I think this would be a perfect opportunity. One, we've talked about it. I don't think Sheamus fits in to a title run at this point. It didn't make sense to put the Money in the Bank briefcase with him, but that's okay. I think we need to give people the hint that, hey, not everybody that wins the Money in the Bank automatically gets, like, I hate when they go to that pay-per-view and they say it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid. Why? If it's almost a guarantee, why would I buy the pay-per-view?
I would love to see Sheamus cash in on a 3rd match with Rollins and lose.
Yeah, I think
I would love to see that.
And I think Rollins and there's 2 things here. One, I mean, the crowd hates Sheamus right now, and that's great. There's no polarization with Sheamus. They don't like him. And I think he's doing a great job continuing that heel role. But so it doesn't really hurt him to lose to Rollins. It's like more heat. Rollins has now beat Cena, even if he cheats. He's beat Sting, even if he cheats. If he beats Sheamus clean or even cheats, it doesn't matter. And now he's beat 3 people in one night. Can you imagine the bravado? He keeps going. He's already had the statue. He's talking about being the greatest champion of all time. Now he can say that he beat Cena, Sheamus, and Sting all in one night. 3 different generations of wrestlers in one night.
You always run a good argument, Cornish.
Then he's got that bravado. It keeps going. But however, he still looks like a pretty darn good babyface if they wanted to turn him babyface eventually for beating these 3 guys, especially Sheamus at the end, who is the guy everybody hates. And if they ever turn that feud, because I still don't know. I mean, I'm back and forth to whether if he goes into a feud with Triple H, who's going to be the heel. I don't know.
Okay. Like I said, you make a good point. You always have a reason for your predictions, man. I respect that.
I think too hard about it.
I can't believe...
I think harder than they do sometimes.
I can't believe you're leaving us for WCW.
I know. Out I go. I'm going to appear another member of the NWO.
Where the big boys play.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
It really has been all the best. Like I said, we are not bitter enemies. We are leaving on good terms. And like I said, stay tuned next week. I'll have an announcement about where this show is going, what the name will be, who will be here with us, and the future of the show on the website, 1061evansville.com.
And of course, keep following us on Twitter. We'll still be on there. If I'm watching Raw, I'll be tweeting. I'll be tweeting about podcasts, and hopefully Legends will tweet us back. All that kind of stuff. And then who knows? We may see a tag team reunion in the near future. So thank you so much for always watching the Enhancement Talent, coming up to us on the streets at remotes and stuff. When you say I never miss an episode, that means more to me than some of the radio stuff that I do. So So I really appreciate it.
It has been quite a lot of fun. And again, just a personal note, you did so much behind the scenes for this show. I've always appreciated it. Thank you very much.
I'm going to miss you, buddy. I'm going to miss all of you guys. And thank you for always being a fan of the Enhancement.